Welcome to the Parkinson's Project podcast. The Parkinson's Project seeks to erase the stigma associated with Parkinson's disease while empowering and inspiring those dealing with the affliction to live life to the fullest. The Parkinson's Project aspires to build an engaged, supportive community while examining the journey of living with Parkinson's disease through a positive, empowering perspective. Here is your host of the Parkinson's Project podcast, Tim McNiff.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tim McNiff, and I'd like to welcome you to the Parkinson's Project podcast. The Parkinson's Project seeks to eliminate the stigma associated with the disease and instead empower and inspire those dealing with the affliction to live life to its fullest. The intent of the Parkinson's Podcast is to share the stories of the people who are living with PD, share best practices from the medical people who are on the front line working to find a cure, and we'll hear from the advocates, those people who are helping Parkinsonians deal and adapt through diet, exercise, and of course, with love, understanding, and unconditional support. We're going to try to keep our episodes to about 20 to 30 minutes, but if we're in the middle of a compelling conversation, we do reserve the right to extend that conversation to a second episode with the intent of delivering tangible, beneficial content to all who engage with us. And we encourage that engagement with an ultimate goal of putting ourselves out of business when there's no longer a need to talk about PD. And so it is with that intent in mind that we welcome back to the Parkinson's Project, Jason Kopacz. Jason, good to see you. You are the first guest to come back to update us on what has happened with you since our last conversation, which was last September. So Jason, first of all, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no problem, Tim. Thanks for calling me back to the Parkinson's Project. And I know we've been in touch in the background a lot, but a lot has gone on with me and my family in the last 6 months. So I'll give you guys a quick update today and we'll have some fun.
I think so. That's what I said the first time you were on here. I think you're the type of guy you would never have chosen to do this the first time. You're not a guy who likes to talk about yourself a lot, but you do so many things. People follow you through your foundation or through social media. It's been an amazing 8 months. I had to enlist your wife to give me kind of a breakdown on all that you've been doing. So I'd like to, if I could, give a thumbnail sketch to our followers of what you've been up to since we talked last September. And as we have this conversation, it's mid-May. So you make me feel like even more of an underachiever than I already am. So here we go. You ran the half marathon with a friend last September. Mm-hmm. Yep. Ran the Twin Cities Marathon in October. Okay. Traveled to South Korea for work. That's on behalf of Polaris.
Yep.
Might as well give them a shout out, right? I mean, if they're
exactly big sponsors, big supporters of ours. So
appreciate that. So thank you, Polaris. You ran the New York City Marathon in November. Mm-hmm. You ran the Thanksgiving turkey trot with your kids.
Yep.
You ran the Goldie run, and it says in here, Henry and Luca. These are two of your kids?
Yeah, the two older boys ran with me that day, yep.
Okay. How far was the Goldie run?
Just a quick 5K. They beat me by 5 minutes each.
They both did?
Yeah, they're quick. I couldn't catch them.
You survived, and as you get a gold star for this, a miserable and seemingly endless Minnesota winter training the entire time. I saw a number of your posts, and you did that because this spring you did what?
I competed in the 126th version of the Boston Marathon on April 18th.
Ran the Boston Marathon, and your wife added here proudly that you ran a personal best in each of those races.
I did. From Twin Cities to New York, I shaved about 15 minutes off my personal best. And from New York to Boston, I shaved another 2.5 minutes off my time. So that was pretty – I wasn't expecting that at Boston, but it's a pretty fast crowd that you run with. So they kept me going the whole way.
So they talk about the hill, people hitting the wall and the hill. Is it everything they said it was?
You know, by that point in time, I was so numb from just kind of everything that was going on. I just kind of plowed through it. But yeah, it's Mike Pantaleo and my trainer and I do a lot of hills in Shoreview, but this one was way bigger than I've ever faced. The Heartbreak Hill definitely took it out of me for a little bit, but then you kind of come back over the top of the hill and it's all downhill from there. So thank
Once
God
you
for
had
that.
You knew it.
Yep, exactly. Once I got over the top of the hill, I knew I could coast in. But
And you've just returned from India, where you were traveling again for Polaris.
it's correct. Yeah, 8 days in 120-degree heat was not very fun.
I can't even imagine. And you're currently coaching your son's baseball team.
Yeah, 4 or 5 nights a week coaching, and then the rest of the nights I'm watching baseball or softball. So I'm up at 4:30 every day and in bed by 9:30, 10 o'clock every day, and it's awesome. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, it's a wonderful thing to be talking about, because a year ago, I'm not sure if we're having the same conversation. And I think it's important to remind everyone who's seeing you and hearing your story, if it's for the first time, I think it's important that they know that you weren't always a runner or anywhere near the size you are today, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. On my diagnosis in June of 2014, I was about 292, 295 pounds. And Dr. Tude, who's been on this podcast before, recommended that we just start doing an active lifestyle. And I just kept going and going and going. And now I'm 213 pounds. And I just had my personal best at Boston Marathon. So I think I'm in pretty good shape.
What would you put your current weight at from 295?
I'm right about 213, 214, somewhere right in there.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, for those of you who may not have heard when you were on previously, let's cover some biographical information. You were diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2014, but unfortunately, you were all too familiar with Parkinson's disease, weren't you?
Yeah, my grandmother had Parkinson's probably the last 25, 30 years of her life. And, there were some times where she was in really good spirits, but there's a lot of times where the disease hit her pretty hard. And towards the end, it got pretty rough.
You just mentioned Dr. Tude a couple of minutes ago. You told us the last time that you were given a bit of sage advice from Dr. Tude after you were originally diagnosed that you've kind of taken to heart. Would you share that with others?
Yeah, he basically said we just got to start moving and exercising and having an active lifestyle. And luckily for me, we've got 4 kids that are active in sports, and my wife and I walk and run and do everything together. So it's been a blessing that I have the support that I have around me.
Oh, we're going to get to your support system in a minute, but I wanted to touch on this because that same doctor approached you to make you aware of a surgical procedure that you ultimately opted to have last year. What was that procedure? Why did you opt to do it? And what's been the effect on your health and the disease progression since you had that surgery?
Yeah, so January of 2020, I guess 2021, I had my first DBS surgery for my right brain, left body. And then 1 month later, I had deep brain stimulation surgery at the University of Minnesota for the other side. And what that does is that helps counteract the dyskinesias, the gait issues, some of the stiffness that I've had over the years. But really it's the dyskinesias that were bothering me leading up to surgery. Without the exercise and with COVID and all that kind of stuff, I just, and the stress and all that stuff around us, my medicine was working too hard, if you will. And that's when the dyskinesias kick in. And I get a little bit from time to time now, but 90% of the time it's pretty normal. And it also cuts back on the tremors that I was getting in my hands.
The last time we spoke, you talked about the procedure and you said you would do it again in a heartbeat. You said even to have that freeing moment that it gave you when you first had the device implanted. What was the difference before and after?
Well, so they call it the lesion effect right after surgery. So once they find the spot the stimulator goes, your body just kind of releases, and then over the next couple of weeks, your body, or actually a couple of days to a couple of weeks, so your body just kind of gets used to having the stimulators in there, and then they turn them on. But in that period from surgery to when they turn them on, it felt like it was I didn't have Parkinson's disease for a couple of weeks.
Wonderful. And unfortunately, not everyone is a candidate for this. So do you feel fortunate that you were early in the process? You were an early adapter. What would you say to someone who was interested in finding out more about it?
Talk to a neurologist and figure out what makes sense for you. I think, I was 7 years into my diagnosis when I had it, and I probably had symptoms a year or two before then. I didn't really realize it. So maybe 10 years with Parkinson's symptoms. But at the end of the day, it really fits your lifestyle and what you're looking for. Is if you have a lot of dyskinesias or a lot of tremors or a lot of stiffness, it makes some sense. But on the other side, if you have some other symptoms like depression and anxiety and stuff like that, they don't recommend that. You have to go through a psych eval, a physical eval, and then a medical eval. That they want to make sure your medicine works once you take it an hour later. And then on the flip side, they want to make sure you're not going to do anything harmful to your body. And because the psychological side of it's probably the most important side of it is if it doesn't work, are you going to be accepting of having a not so good outcome from the surgery?
The outcome. Gotcha. You mentioned it beforehand, and none of us ever accomplishes anything in this life without the help of others. And you have quite the support team. Talk about that and how important it is to not only buy into your own health, but to not be afraid to reach out to others and ask for help.
Yeah, I've always kind of been a person that just figures out how to work through something on my own. But I realize really with this disease that the more people I have in my corner, the more people that support us, it would definitely benefit me. So my parents are involved. First of all, my wife and my kids are actively involved with my exercise every day. They keep me busy. They're playing basketball outside now. They're probably gonna want me to come out and play with them after we're done here, Tim. But playing basketball, playing sports, getting out running, getting out walking, golfing, anything they're doing it, I'm right there with them. And I'm try not to make the excuse of, well, I got Parkinson's. No matter how I feel that day, I just get up and move, and they keep me motivated. But my family, my extended family, my sister, my mom and dad, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, everybody's in our corner supporting us, and that helps us be able to run Boston and run New York and run Disney's. We need to have a lot of people helping us.
With the help of that support system, you have also formed Team Kopacz and the foundation that goes with it. What is the goal of your foundation, and how can people get involved if they are so inclined?
Yeah, the goal of our foundation is to help the local PD community through the University of Minnesota. There's some exercise studies that are going on with Dr. Colin McKinnon to understand the benefits of running, specifically an exercise toward slowing the progression of the disease. So we're helping to fund that program, part of that program, and we're also helping to fund some research at the Michael J. Fox Foundation with the proceeds from our golf tournament. Last year we gave just under $50,000.
Wow.
Half to Michael J. Fox, half to the University of Minnesota. And this year we're hoping to do more with our golf tournament on July 22nd at Majestic Oaks.
I had that as my last question, but we'll jump into it now. You mentioned it, July 22nd at Majestic Oaks. Can people still get involved, and if so, how do they do that?
Yeah, so the golf tournament sold out in 4 weeks, which is amazing. 36 teams signed up in 4 weeks. But yeah, there's going to be raffle tickets. There's going to be a dinner event that night that you can go on to teamkopacz.com and buy tickets, where you can come to Majestic Oaks in the afternoon, play some games, and then we'll have a program that night, which hopefully you can still MC, Tim.
That's the plan, unless you come up with an alternative.
No. You're locked in now. Your picture's on the website, so yeah. 36 teams golf wise is amazing, but we want to get more people out there. We want to get more spread our mission to other people that weren't able to sign up for golf. So we're hoping to get 300 plus people at our event that night, and we're gonna have a lot of fun and spread some awareness in terms of what Parkinson's is and what we can do to fix it in the near term and correct it long term.
Well, I am honored to be a part of it, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I always approach these episodes as if someone is hearing this for the very first time and they have just been diagnosed. As someone who's living with PD and has been now for about 8 years, what would be the one thing you would want them to take away from this conversation we're having here today?
The biggest thing is just don't feel sorry for yourself. There's obviously there's obviously going to be the times where you feel awkward in public and awkward out in society with Parkinson's. You get tremors or stiffness or whatnot, but believe it or not, people are there to help you throughout every step of the way, and just put your your best foot forward and get out there and be active, and don't be too afraid of this disease. It definitely does suck, but having it, but it's not a death sentence at this point in time. There's a lot of treatments out there. There's a lot of options to maintain a healthy lifestyle, to maintain a career, to maintain a family. You just got to be willing to do that and look for it and have some fun.
So we talked on the previous podcast about the fact that, you had just started at Polaris at the time you were diagnosed, and you had great concerns about how were they going to react to this. Mm-hmm. And now we just talked about this time you've been to South Korea and you've been to India. So obviously they're not afraid to send you out places, and you're not hiding the fact of what you're dealing with, correct?
Not at all. I think everybody I work with knows, and if they don't, if I have a bad day or something, I kind of just let them know, hey, don't worry, I've got PD. If you want to know a little bit more about it later, we can talk about it over a beer, or we can talk about it after work or something like that. And everybody's been very accommodating. I was with my boss for 8 days straight in India, and he didn't say anything, and he understands. He goes in the tournament with us, and he knows what's going on with my disease. But at the end of the day, at the end of the trip, he's like, wow, that surgery really worked well for you. And so they have confidence in me, and I reciprocate by going to these cool places around the world.
And they're not cutting you any slack. I mean, you're expected to carry the same load as anybody else.
Absolutely, if not more. I think just from my track record shows that I'm willing to take on tough challenges, whether it's running or going to Korea 2 weeks before New York Marathon, or going to India right after the Boston Marathon. I think they know what I'll do, and they know that I'll be successful doing it.
We talked about earlier when I said you weren't the same size or the same shape. What role does exercise play for you, given the fact that you've always been, even when you were a heavier man, as I understand it, you always needed to be moving, right? I mean, you're an active guy. And so how much do you have to self-motivate yourself, or how much of that comes natural or out of necessity now, knowing that you're going to feel better if you do indeed exercise?
Yeah. Before diagnosis, I golfed 4 or 5 times a week. I played softball. I went to the gym a little bit, not necessarily as much as I do now, but, coming out of high school, I was in pretty good shape. I was getting recruited to play some Division II football up at North Dakota State and University of North Dakota. And so I was a pretty good athlete, but really I got into golf, and I got pretty good at that. And that was kind of my thing, just to keep moving and keep walking and hit the ball along the way, and had some fun doing it. But now the self-motivation is pretty easy when you look at, the family or whatnot around me. I don't want to be the dad that sits in a lawn chair and not help them out with pitching or soccer. I don't know anything about soccer, but my daughter drags me out there to kick the ball around and all that stuff. So, but yeah, it's pretty easy to stay motivated with the environment that we've built around us.
How many kids?
4.
That's what I thought. So
13,
2 older boys.
13. Luca's 13 today. So happy birthday, Luca.
Happy birthday, Luca.
It's his golden birthday. He's heading to baseball right now. I saw him walk down there. We're going to go to watch him at his baseball game tonight. And then Henry turned 11 in March, and the twins Charlie and Sophie turned 9 in January. So we're busy every night.
It's a good problem to have, isn't it?
It's an awesome I don't even consider it a problem. It's
kind of facetious. Yeah.
Yeah, but it gets challenging with me and Christy's work. Christy works full time too, so it gets a little bit challenging with our work schedule and our workout routines. But it's fun. It keeps us motivated. It keeps me skinnier because I can't sit at home and eat.
Might be the biggest gold nugget in this whole conversation right there. All right, I always want our listeners or viewers to get an action item that they can take away from this episode to try to do something that can make their life better, like right now. If you could ask them to do one thing, or perhaps based on your experience, suggest one thing that they do right now, today, what might that one thing be?
Find 30 minutes of your day and just get active. Go outside, enjoy the weather. I mean, today's about as perfect of a day we've had of the year. It's mid 70s, I think, and sunny. And just get out and walk for 30 minutes or 20 minutes or even 5-10 minutes. Whatever time you have, just get out and walk with your wife or your girlfriend or your spouse or whoever you want to walk with. Put your earbuds in and just get outside and walk and have some fun and enjoy the weather. And then just keep pushing yourself day after day to get a little bit more. And you never know where you're going to end up.
Going off script here one time, just before we wrap it up, the last conversation we had, you had said to me that the doctor, maybe it's Dr. Tuit or one of your other doctors, had said, would it be okay if when someone's diagnosed, if we let them reach out to you so you could talk to them about your experience? And you were like, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I asked you at that time, has anyone ever done that? And you said, no. And so I just want to say publicly right now, as we're talking, you would still be open to taking a call from somebody or answering an email to somebody that's been diagnosed to kind of help them go forward?
Absolutely, yeah. I haven't got anything directly from my doctors or anybody from the U of M, but I've had a few people reach out on Facebook and send me emails.
You have?
A couple people, yeah. And
cool.
Which is nice. I don't know. I think part of it's the podcast here that we've put together here, Tim and Pat. I think you guys have advocated well for the PD community, and I think Team Kopacz helps too. So anywhere I can, I try to put my email out there, jasonkopacz@gmail.com. If you want to send me an email, I'm here to talk. I'm here to listen. I've got 2 or 3 people that I go back and forth with probably once or twice a month, and just kind of keeping tabs on how they're doing, how they're asking how I'm doing, and all that stuff. So it's a good feeling to be able to support other people.
Anything I haven't asked you about you think is important to get out there?
My schedule may be crazy just because of all the kids and the sports and stuff, but really, in my opinion, that's what's keeping me going forward with Parkinson's and be able to fight it and I get my steps in and all that kind of stuff. But you got to make it your own. That's the thing that I've learned the most of this whole thing is you don't have to run a marathon to slow down Parkinson's. All you got to do is just get out there and do what you're okay with, whether it's gardening or bocce ball or whatever it is. Just get out there and do something and make it your own and have fun with it.
Sage advice from a man who knows. Again, the Team Kopacz golf event is July 22nd at Majestic Oaks. And if they want to find out more, they can just go to your website, which is
www.teamkopacz.com.
Jason Kopacz, thank you. Not only for coming back to being on the Parkinson's Project podcast, but for everything else that you're doing, serving as an example that you are, and your willingness to be open to others to help them and through your foundation, and basically for the way you're attacking this disease and living your life. I wish your son the happiest of birthdays. Please apologize him on my behalf for taking you away from him a little bit on his birthday, and I hope you don't miss any of the game.
No, thanks, Tim. I'll pass it on to Luca, and I think just thank you and Pat for bringing me back to the Parkinson's podcast and keeping me in the loop. And I'm here to help whoever we can and get it moving forward. And if anybody has anything, just reach out to jasonkopacz@gmail.com, and I'll definitely support you the best way I can.
And same thing with the Parkinson's Project. We have our website. We'll answer emails as they come in, and whatever we can do to facilitate this process for you, that's what we're there to do. Jason, thank you. I'll be talking to you in just a moment. The Parkinson's Project seeks to be a place where you can come for a range of information about PD and to find support for yourself or perhaps someone you love. We encourage you to check out our Facebook page on the Parkinson's Project. You can also find the Parkinson's Project podcast wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Check us out and please rate us so we can grow and continue to give support in the ongoing effort to eradicate this affliction and put ourselves, quite frankly, out of business. We would like nothing more than that. This has been the Parkinson's Project podcast. For executive producer Pat Forcia, I'm Tim McNiff. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to meeting and working with all of you as we seek to build a supportive, empowering community through all aspects of the Parkinson's Project.
Thank you for engaging with the Parkinson's Project podcast. Be sure to look for more content on the Parkinson's Project Facebook page, and we'll see you right here on the next edition of the Parkinson's Project podcast.